she's just not gonna go today. Well, sports fans, starter seems to have finally given it up on this truck. I've replaced the cables. I've done a bunch of stuff over time. It's always had some like dead spots in it, and I could usually trick it into running. But that's all I'm getting. I've taken the cables off like 3 times, adjusted them, put them back on. I don't think the battery's dead. I think the starter's just got dead spots in it. And it worked until it didn't, and that was today. So I think I have another one somewhere. Let's go find it. Dang it, I had other things to do today. Just because I had issues with this battery since I got the truck, and I know it's a cheap Walmart battery, and now that it's not cranking regularly, I can't even test it with my battery crank tester because it won't test unless it's cranking. Conundrums. So I'm gonna swap this battery out real quick and bang in the newish one that I tried to motor with the nuts, and boy howdy, there is not a battery tray there anymore. Anyway, we'll see. Just before I go on a big old starter hunt, thought I'd give this at least a whirl, get it? In case you're wondering, we're sort of throwing the parts cannon at it, but I'm trying to throw the parts that I have cannon at it.
Cheapskate.
This has been a developing issue for a long time, so if it finally got itself there, well, that's on me. I've just been way too busy to deal with it if I could cheat it.
Seems like a solid plan.
Also true of today, I had big plans. We were supposed to go buy a bunch of material to work at the wrench, but push has come to shove, so they say. All right, one last trick. Just for fun, I'm gonna give it an extra 50 amps of the business with this. At the very least, I would love to start it to back it up onto more leveler ground. It fired up for like 2 seconds and then died and will not start again. Dang it. Striking out. No fun. Starter motor it is. Let's go see if we can find one on the shelf. The other shop. All right, here's a collection of starters. This one looks about right. All right, gang, 98.672% of the time, putting a new starter in a small block Chevy is not a big deal. I've got a video that does show the different types of starters and why there are so many different ones. The short version is, it's 2 bolts. Typically the wiring is long enough. You can pull the 2 bolts out, move toward the front of the car and then down, and then change the wiring over and then put it back in. Now, we're gonna run into a couple little things that I'm gonna show you along the way. But before you dive into this project, chalk the wheels, set the brakes, put it in park, and pull the negative cable off the battery. You wanna remove the negative cable because the positive is attached to the starter, and should you decide to touch the positive to any part of the frame, A, you'll be making a connection, but also you'll be energizing the whole situation because, remember, the ground is attached to somewhere on the block in the frame, which means every piece of metal is a ground. So what you don't want to do is touch positive and negative together unintentionally like. So we're broken down here at the ranch, and just to shed some light on my broken down starter, I got this new camping light from Traverson. This thing's kind of rad because it's got a solar panel and you can USB charge it, but I left this thing on the hood of the truck for a day. It's got a thread so that you can put it on a tripod, magnet so you can stick it to stuff, handle so you can hang it from stuff. It's got a spot flashlight, but it's also a great big LED floodlight with a bunch of different settings. So we're gonna jam this thing under the truck and illuminate the situation. I'll put a link in the description, worth looking into if you think you have the need. Like right now, I sure do. Way more better than without it. All right, so if you've never done this before, just make some notes, take some pictures. You're just gonna put the wires back where they used to be. You're gonna transfer them from the old one to the new one in the same spots. Also, fresh brake stance and cardboard makes this a lot easier. I tend to like skip the jack and the creeper and the whole thing. I even own a lift, but well, that doesn't matter much right now because the car ain't driving itself over there. All right, let's get this done. All right, gang, this is the new starter. I don't know if it works. We're just trying to save a couple bucks because I need to save a couple bucks everywhere I can. This was on the shelf.
Rusty, are you broke?
Yeah. If it doesn't work, it's just time. Your main battery lead connects to the big lug there. It connects to the starter here. This S terminal is the one that gets the power from the ignition switch, which basically connects this and this. So as soon as this is energized, the solenoid's energized, and that runs the starter motor. Over here you got a terminal labeled R. That one's loose, but you can run an additional wire from here to your ignition coil. That'll bypass any resistor that you have in the circuit or whatever, especially on an older vehicle. Sometimes there's a ballast resistor in line with your coil to give it a full 12 volts only while it's cranking. So it gives you a little bit of a hotter spark when you're trying to start the engine. So I'm gonna jam this thing in. It's basically a reverse process of what we did. See on the top side. So it's bolted back in there. There were no shims in it, so there are no shims in it now. If it grinds, then we're gonna need to think about shimming it. But that's really all there is to it. You change the wiring over and you bolt it back up, and hopefully it'll work. Now this is a used starter off the shelf, so I don't know the provenance of that, but the changing process is the same. Fingers crossed. I really need this to work. All right, battery's reconnected. Let's see if this is mo better. Come on, buddy. Starter spun, but it didn't kick out. Let's whack it with a hammer a couple times, and then maybe we might have just determined that the starter was no good on the shelf. Oh, bummer. All right, trying to bring you in here. I've got a screwdriver pulling the spur gear out, and it is engaging correctly, but it doesn't seem to be doing it when it gets the juice, at least not far enough. So we'll give it one more whirl, see if it wants to engage, and if it doesn't, then I guess we're going to the O'Reilly's, see my pals. See if it wants to do more now that I've done it by hand. It's spinning. It's not engaging. So gang, we're trying to minimize incapacitated vehicles here. So this battery is finally toast. The brake lights stick on in this thing, which is something I haven't fixed. Again, it's something I've been kicking down the curb, but I finally killed the battery. It's from 2018. You can only run these batteries dead so many times before they decide they're donezo. So considering I gotta go see my pals at the O'Reilly's anyhow, I guess we'll get a new battery today. We'll just spend all the money today. So typically around here, the squeakiest wheel gets the grease, which, as you guys know, has been the Camaro. So much work on that thing because we just got to get it back on the road. Also blew up this lawnmower, ran it without oil. Dang it. Trooper's thankfully been a champion for me, but you ever wonder if cars get jealous? Kind of like significant others. Like if you bring a new one home, do the ones you had sort of look at you sideways and suddenly demand a little bit more attention? Well, the murder van hasn't been driven since before I went to California, which is over 6 months ago. I pulled that Camaro up here, it limped right into this spot, and 2 days later that tire just went whoosh, which this is the other vehicle I bought in California and drove all the way back here. This one was way more trouble-free than the Camaro. I think got a little jealous as soon as the Camaro got it back. It gets a little tricky. It's why these projects don't advance kind of the way you'd like, because sometimes you got to do a top-end engine rebuild from a car that used to run that suddenly doesn't run anymore, or you know, something you've been using as a reliable get around town vehicle when you need it needs a starter. It's hard to let a running vehicle become a not running vehicle to work on a vehicle that's never been running as a project to try to advance it forward. It's redneck problems, I guess. Scorcher, third time's the charm. Hopefully we still got a little shade where we're working. Starter's riding shotgun, leaving my pals the O'Reilly's. Saturday, they got it in before the end of the day, which I appreciate. So yeah, probably should have called them first thing when I had the problem, but I was trying to save a couple bucks. Starter was only $75. Hopefully it solves the problem. Could have been way worse. That battery was 130. All right, gang, morning has given way to afternoon. This is one of my newest, most favorite new gadgets. It's a portable espresso machine. I know, how fancy. Mash that button. We're gonna come back in a few minutes and have an espresso. Let's jam the starter in while the espresso happens, and hopefully we can pick up our morning project as a late afternoon project. A reman starter from the O'Reillys. I hope it goes well. It does come with a shim. Now, I have a video on small block Chevy starters and all the different kinds of them and blah, 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 blah. Some people comment that you should never need a shim starter. Well, I'll tell you what right now. This is the starter that I could get today. It came with a shim. There is a reason. It's because it might need a shim. Oh man, we got like, I don't know, 25 minutes before we get baked. We got a little bit of shade. Let's get it done. All right, this third time is the charm starter installation is brought to you by Ryan's Breakdance and Cardboard. No, seriously, I don't use creepers anymore because A, they wouldn't roll on this, and B, they roll over my keys and my tools, and my shirt gets caught in them, I get stuck. Get you some Ryan's Breakdance and Cardboard, you'll be boogieing right under your vehicle in no time.
You ever see breakdance before?
I hate side post batteries, but you may notice my little side post battery hack. You can use these adapters, but they're real dumb, and the original factory cables are real dumb. So when you're screwing into a soft metal terminal like lead, I use a 3/8 bolt and I bottom that guy out, and when that's done, we go back in and tighten down the nut like a jam nut. Give that a little whirl, and then we go and tighten our jam nut, and that way we're less likely to strip out the inside of this battery, which is something you'd be surprised at how likely you are to do, especially if you're doing some ridiculous project like this, where we've had the starter out on our third starter of the day. No whammies. Here we go. Come on, buddy. At least it spun the motor, fired up. All right, let's try again. It's doing all the starter stuff we need it to do. That's great news. All right, let's figure out why it's not getting gas now. Good times. It's entirely possible I ran it out of gas, especially on this incline. Put some in the carburetor, let's see how this goes. Throwing some in the drink. I ran it out of gas, we'll fill it up and then go get more gas. I got at least a gas can here. Watch that fuel filter, boys. Third time's the charm on the starter, gang. I knew I was risking wasted time trying to save a buck, but you know, gotta try to save a buck when you can. All right, let's get some fuel in this thing. Like the fuel gauge used to work on this thing, but it's been a minute. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure what we've lost here. What did we lose? I mean, you grounded? You still attached to anything? You still attached to anything? Anyway, we need to find a way to fill the tank without, you know, having to lift the bed every time. My buddy brought this by. Been using it while he's not around. He's got that 51 Ford Vicky in the back there. Anyway, it's called a shore can, but you jam the doohickey in there and then you just squeeze a little trigger. You don't even have to pour it, it just does the thing, which is actually a pretty darn good design considering how dumb most modern jerry cans are, and you have like 287 safety features and it makes it really hard to pour the gas without spilling it, when the whole point of the safety features is to not spill the gas. Well, team, this is long overdue. That starter's been clicking for a very, very long time, and I've usually been able to whack it or find a good spot or wiggle the cables or somehow trick it into working. 73 American dollars was really all it took, and unfortunately for me, it burned up half a day. A good chunk of that was because I tried a starter that was untested. Hopefully the truck will now continue to start mo better and mo better. It's one of the reasons I didn't want to get gas in it, because I had to turn it off, which is very funny. Not so bad. It's as good as an espresso will ever be, which is better than no coffee and a lot better than some coffee I had on the road recently. That's pretty good news. It's never really done that exactly since I bought the truck. If you want to see those videos, I bought this thing out of a field and drug it home, and we got it running and got it to daily driver status on a super tight budget. You've seen it in a lot of videos around here. The hydraulic dump bed has certainly come in handy. If you're into this kind of DIY, making it better thing, that's what this channel is all about. Endless projects. We got to fix what's broken, and we got to make things better, because basically what we can afford is junk, but with some time and some effort, you know, we can figure out how to do it more better. We're not after perfection, we're after mo better. I'm between the sharks. Now back to the project that was supposed to start this morning. Things get heavier the later it gets in the day, gang. I used to be lazy about battery hold downs, and then I bounced one battery out of its place and it fell over. That was bad. Make sure your batteries are secure. All right, let's see. This thing has the most aggressive Flowmaster exhaust you can possibly get. It was unintentional, but it's very real. I think it's called waking up the neighbors or something. Wait, what? No. Oh man, if I'm on my way into another starter, I'm gonna lose it. Nothing. Weird. I'm sure it's totally in park. What? Alright. Maybe I didn't tighten the jimmy jam down nearly enough. Got the same 3/8 bolt contraption right there. Let's try this again. Maybe it'll be mo better. If it makes another clicking noise, we're in for another starter. I just got rid of a perfectly good battery. There we go. There we go. Listen to this. Ridiculous. As always, thank you guys for watching Between the Sharks. We'll be back with new projects all the time. Something you'd like to see, put it in the comments. I'd appreciate it. But as always, good luck on your projects out there, and we will see you next time.